What is up, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome back to episode number 94 today of the My Player Career Mode. We're 6 away from the massive 100, and your support throughout the entirety of this series has been incredible. But I want to say as well, thank you to everybody who left some nice comments. Yesterday I posted about the fact that we passed the exam that I've been revising for. So it's nice because I've got past it now. I know I've got a little bit of time where I can breathe again and say, hey, you know, I've got nothing to worry about coming forward, apart from, of course, giving you guys great content, hopefully, that you'll enjoy. So, anyways, yeah, good to know that I passed it. So as a way of saying thank you for your patience for yesterday, there'll be a double upload today. So firstly, at 4 PM, we have the My Player Career Mode coming out right now. And then at 6, we'll have the Road to Glory Career Mode with Crew coming out as well at 6 PM. To say thank you to you guys for being patient with me after yesterday, obviously not uploading and having that to work on. But it's done. We should be going back to regular uploads, at least daily now from here onwards. And tomorrow I'm actually out as well. I'm going to a charity event for boxing, and one of my brother's actually fighting in the event, so it should be quite cool. Maybe I'll, if you follow me on Snapchat, if you don't already, link below, you can add me on Snapchat. I'll probably be releasing some snaps somewhere down the line tomorrow. So yeah, anyways, if you're interested, that's where it is. So, well, this is how this episode's going to run. We're going to show you the highlights of the first 2 games. The first one against Bournemouth in the FA Cup 5th round, and then the second one in the Champions League against Villarreal over in Spain. And then we'll get to the live portion of today's episode, because we have a Carabao Cup final in the episode today, alongside a Premier League game against Spurs. So as this first game gets underway, we saw Man United take the lead through Ben. His initial header was saved by the Bournemouth goalkeeper, but he instantly got back on the rebound and put it home with the right foot, reacting quickest out of anybody in the box to give Manchester United the lead. Of course, this is only the 5th round of the FA Cup, but because we want Ben to win a quadruple this season, it means we have to do well in every single competition. Hence why there's been so much priority put into the FA Cup at such like a low advanced stage, because it's not like in the semis or the quarterfinal where we really have to worry about it. Arguably, Ben maybe would have been rested if this was, of course, not wanting to win the quadruple. But Bournemouth, they created a chance with 15 minutes to go. A great block in the middle, stopping them from finding an equaliser. Not quite sure if that had gone through, whether or not our goalkeeper would have had it covered. But luckily, we didn't need to worry about that, because the Man United defenders did well to block it. And at this point, Ben wasn't on the field of play. He'd been substituted with in mind that they did have this Champions League game to come a couple of days after. And it just so happened that a 1-0 victory was enough to put Manchester United through to the next round of the FA Cup. Bournemouth put up a good fight, kept it to a low-chance game, but in the end just didn't have enough when it mattered to be able to get themselves back in it. And when I say a low-chance game, I mean a low-chance game. There wasn't too much really to shout about in that first game there. But the second game, this is where things heated up. Now, if you remember, Champions League last season for Man United wasn't ideal. You know, they didn't have the greatest Champions League run. We thought after winning it the season before, they were probably going to be the favourites to win it again. Didn't happen that way. This season, we're looking for the quad. They have to perform. So this first game against Villarreal in the round of 16, I think this is, of course, the first round. Then you go to the quarters and then the semis and the finals. So I believe this is the round of 16. We are taking them on in Spain first, and we're going to see if Ben can make the difference in this game. Of course, away goals, how many times do I always say it, are vital when it comes to playing Champions League or Europa League football for that matter. And Ben at the moment is the 4th highest scorer, I think, or joint basically second, because I think the top 3 are all on the same amount of goals. But the side for Villarreal, it's not terrible, actually. They've got a few decent players in there, and players that I wouldn't mind, you know, looking at and saying, hey, I would take them if I was a manager. But overall, I think you've got to say that Man United have potentially the better team on paper. But as we know, it doesn't matter. We've said it how many times before. When United go into games as favourites, they lack that little bit of cutting edge. Hopefully won't be the case today, as the game got underway in Spain. United with the away leg first. And the first chance presented itself inside 3 minutes. Ben running onto a through ball, getting past his man, squares it across to Romelu Lukaku. And it seems like that partnership this season has, blossomed. Last season, we missed it. Lukaku didn't play well at all. I don't think he reached double figures in the all competitions last season, whereas this year, the partnership between him and Ben have certainly blossomed. They started to understand each other a bit more. For example, I think last season, potentially, Lukaku wouldn't have made that run towards a near post. He'd have held back. But he knows now that Ben's going to whip that towards that near post and say, hey, it's your job now to get on the end of that. And that's exactly what Romelu did inside 5 minutes to give Man United the lead in this Champions League first leg tie. On top of that, United had that coveted away goal that we speak so highly of in our time of career modes. However, Villarreal, they looked for an instant reply. 21 minutes in, good move. Eventually, though, Ben should be stronger in his challenge, I believe, there, and we would have maybe come away with it. But Villarreal create the opportunity. And luckily for them, though, they couldn't hit the target. Their man fires wide from not too far out, actually, and that was like a lifeline for Man United saying, hey, you've got to defend better than that. And not too much later, United look for a second. Ben finding Lukaku, back to Ben, lovely interchangeable play, and a right-footed finish from Man United's number 7 adds to their 1-goal advantage, making it 2-0 and finding a second away goal in this tie. Good link-up play from Romelu and Ben, though. He created one for Romelu earlier. This time, he returns the favour, does Lukaku, sending him through. But I have to say, the finish from Ben as well. It's not the most convincing finish, but he did enough. You know, he took the touch there. We know he's only got a 2-star weak foot, not really rated very highly on his weak foot, but he just about manages to squeeze it past the goalkeeper. I felt quite harsh on, actually, because I don't think he did too much wrong there. Maybe he could have made himself a little bit bigger when coming out, but at the end of the day, you can't be having players like Ben's quality getting through one-on-one with him. And that's his 6th of the Champions League run so far, so that's also very nice to see. And if he continued on right until the stroke of half-time, I thought for a second Villarreal were going to make something of this chance here and die with a shot. Again, though, where they failed in the first attempt, they did exactly the same thing, hitting it to the same side of the goal, and unfortunately completely missing again. And unfortunately for them, that was it. They didn't have long enough, and it ended up being a 2-0 win to Manchester United, meaning that now they take a 2-goal advantage and 2 away goals back to Old Trafford with them, with the knowledge that if they don't concede a goal, they're through, basically. They concede 2, goes to extra time. Any more than that, we have to worry. But at the end of the day, it's looking pretty good for Man United. And I am feeling pretty confident they'll be watching Manchester United play in the quarterfinals of the Champions League. Hopefully, against somebody like Spurs, Real Madrid, one of the big teams. We want to see Ben play against the best opposition and just tear them to shreds. Something that he can't seem to do when it comes to England level, but no shots fired at all. And most of the England players are always tragic when we get to, kind of final events. But we do have a couple of gaming games, I think, coming up soon in the series. So maybe we'll see them do better, potentially. But nevertheless, 2-0 win. Moving forward, guys, this is where we'll end the post-con part of today's episode. I will see you all in a moment for the live con part of the Carabao Cup final, followed up with a game against Spurs. Enjoy it, guys. Here we go then, ladies and gentlemen, on to the live part of today's video. So, basically yesterday I had an exam, reason I didn't upload, a few of you guys knew about that. I posted last night asking if you wanted a double upload today. So, of course, I've probably already gone over this in the post-com side of things, but today we're going to have this episode of the My Player Career Mode, followed up with a Crew Alexander Road to Glory, and then back from tomorrow will be Ji Sheng's story on his career as a footballer. So anyways, today, in this live part of the episode, we will take on Reading for this Carabao Cup final. As you know, Ben on course to try and win himself a quadruple. And after that, we'll be trying to leave Manchester United at the end of the season. That was the deal we made. So, as you can see, that is the team that they've got, Reading in the final. They both got here on either side. Man United beating Chelsea and Spurs on the way through, also a game against Sheffield United. Whereas for the other side, Reading have beaten Arsenal on penalties, then Burnley, and then Ipswich on the way to the final. So, they're probably going to be quite a tough test. And although I'm looking at this thinking this is going to be easy, I don't want to take anything for granted. So there is that, of course, that we have to worry about. Ben's in the side. Without further ado, we're just going to jump straight into this Carabao Cup final and hopefully win Ben another trophy. And we'll see what's going to happen. Side's decent. Of course, the CPU side, that's what we play with the goalkeeper up at 75. That's how it's always been. On my side, everything remains the same. For anybody wondering as well, there is a few things that are specific to be a pro. That's why I play. So you have your position indicator and your threat indicator. You can turn these off if you want, but then you won't know if you're out of position or not. So that's why I have them on. Of course, for the audio, we don't have commentary on. You know what? I'm going to go tight. I'm going to go tight for the net tension. I like it when the ball bounces back out of the net from a screamer. Net shape's not really... I don't really care about any of that. Single player, we have everything on classic. And that's pretty much it. Legendary as always, guys. Let's get into this final and watch Ben lift another trophy with Manchester United, hopefully. That's the aim anyway. Alrighty, ladies and gentlemen. Here we are for this Carabao Cup final. A little bit of a voice break there. Not ideal. Anyway... So, as you know, Ben, he's on course to do the quadruple. Also, I got a new controller. It's a white one this time. I had my old, default Xbox One. And that's the reason why, basically, for anybody wondering why there wasn't many cutscenes in the last Ji Sheng episode, the analog button on this one sticks up, right? Even when I'm not pressing up. So it just continuously runs around and I can't actually do anything when it goes to the menus. So that controller's pretty much broken. So I spent like 50 quid on a new one. Never knew how expensive they were. They are pretty expensive controllers, let me say that. So... As the two teams come out here at Wembley, you can see there's Vito Manone in between the sticks for Reading. I've just noticed that as well. There's a few big name players on show in this final. You'd expect nothing less. We're into the final. We think Reading are going to be quite a tough test, so you would expect that we would go into this game playing the best football we possibly can. So yeah, we'll check out the sides and of course the trophy that's on offer for today's game. So I'm excited. Hopefully you guys are as well. I'm very excited to see this play out, and I want to see if United are going to take their first step to this quadruple or if they're going to fall short, because as you know, last season they won the FA Cup and the Carabao Cup, fell short in the Premier League and didn't really do very well in the Champions League, so we don't want a repeat of that. So let's see what this Reading side is going to offer and if we can win it. Of course, there's the trophy. Hang on a second, let me just move my headphones away from there. Decent. Okay, so what have Reading got in their side? Let's have a look. Got to be honest, I recognise literally 3 players there. Manone, Mo Barrow and Liam Kelly. That is it. 5 at the back from Reading as well. I don't think I was expecting anything less, to be honest. I was probably expecting it to be 5 at the back and maybe them to just sit back and try and catch on the counter. I think that's where United are most vulnerable, is that when teams come against them, they try and play against them on the counter, because we know Man United have a lot of possession, and that's kind of what comes back to hit them. So as the game gets underway for the Carabao Cup final, I'm excited. Hopefully you guys are as well. Let's do this. I think what's going to be most important for Man United during this final is to make sure that they don't concede early, because we know a little bit of panic sets in if that happens. Lukaku, feed Ben. Here we go. Chance number 1 potentially. He's got Martins on the other side. Gelson Martins couldn't get there in time. That's the first chance of this final. And it very nearly went Manchester United's way. That's going to be Ben stealing it back here. Has he got an opening to shoot? Yes, he has. But Manone straight into his hands. Man United in the first 10 minutes starting this one off. Very fast indeed. The pass to Gelson Martins. Not exactly ideal from Ben. He could have done better with it. And Reading at the moment trying to play out the back and really struggling. They've done it on this occasion, but I cannot believe that we are not 1-0 up there. Honestly. Thing is as well, Reading come into this as massive underdogs against Manchester United, but I'm sure that they'll fancy their chances here. Martins, play it back towards Ben. What was the touch from Gelson Martins? If he'd have just taken a touch to the same way he was facing, there was a pass on and Ben was in, one-on-one with the goalkeeper if he'd have laid him through. For some reason, though, Martins tried to take his man on, then realised he couldn't do that, and had to turn back. That's ridiculous, Martins. Oh, my goodness me, what a save. Oh, this is what I'm talking about. That's Reading's first chance of this game, and it's forced our keeper into a very good stop indeed. And that came from absolutely nowhere. But I'm so frustrated with Gelson Martins. All he had to do was lay Ben in, and it was a chance for one-on-one with a goalkeeper. Reading winning that header as well on the front foot. This is what I'm talking about. 1 long ball, 1 win header, and now they're attacking. I don't like the way this one goes. And at this half-time stage, honestly, it's been pretty poor. United have 1 chance, and it's Ben's shot that went straight into the hands of Manone. Couple of half chances, of course, with Gelson Martins getting in and Manone reading it well. Another opportunity where Gelson Martins really should have squared Ben in. But other than that, there's not really been too much to shout about. Reading with 1 opportunity, which David De Gea did have to save, of course. Probably was going wide, though, in the end, so maybe didn't need to make the save. But he wasn't to know that. So, again, another free kick given away by Man United. This is just honestly stupid. I've got a feeling this is where Reading are going to score from a set piece. So, there's the header in, and there's David De Gea comfortably making a save. Ben turning away from his man. He's got a good run being made by Jota. Can he pick him out? Yes, he can, and Jota's volley. Straight into the hands of Manone, unfortunately. Another good move from Manchester United, but a lack of finishing is there once again, and that's what stops them going in front in this game. I have to say, though, a nice pick out by Ben. Really did set Jota through. Should do better with his finish. This should be a Man United ball here as Varane brings it down. It is a Man United ball. They've looked comfortable, but there is signs that Reading have got it in them to score. Good turn from Ben. Here we go. This might be a good chance here as he strides forward. Beats another man. He's got Lukaku making a run. Still Ben as well. Still Ben! And he opens up the scoring in this Carabao Cup final. Question marks about the defending and the goalkeeping from Reading. But that is what this final needed. A goal of that magnitude. And Ben Wood has found it. 30 minutes left on this clock. Reading have had nothing to answer so far going forward. But they're going to need to find something with the last 30 minutes. Otherwise, they can kiss this goodbye. Does it take a deflection? That's the argument now you've got to look at. Because the strike is decent. He gets power behind it. And there's accuracy. But you've got to say possibly Manone's got to do better, considering the fact as well that the CPU sliders are up to 75 for the goalkeeper. Has to do better. Martial going to come on for Jota. Ben has been credited with it, so it must have just been his strike on target. And it must have not touched his player, because he's been given a goal. I think Reading there was unsure what to do. When Ben starts running at you like that, as a defender, it can be kind of a worrying time. You don't know whether or not to try and close him down or follow the runners, because he can do one of two things: shoot or find a good pass. Ben sees the run from Havertz. Is it about to be 2-0? Yes, it is! Man United have ended this game off now. It is game, set and match to the Manchester club. And that should be the Carabao Cup in their grasps. Ben's through ball. Havertz coming off the bench here today. And he slots home to make it 2. I apologise if I've said that wrong. Anyway, in all seriousness though, I wasn't really expecting anything different from this game. I mean, no disrespect to Reading, of course, but when you're looking at this, Man United were dominant in the Premier League. You know, you're expecting them to come here and put on this type of performance. Good strike again, and that's what's beaten Manone. That one I don't think there's too much he can do about. You know, I did have a little bit of quarrels with him for the first goal when Ben scored it, but the second one there, you know, he can't really do too much against that. It's just a good finish from Havertz. And that makes it 2. We are 9 minutes away from watching Ben lift another Carabao Cup trophy. I think that's his 3rd now of his career, which is sensational. Any moment now, the referee will bring this game to a close. Good win back, and there it is, the final whistle. Man United have won themselves another Carabao Cup, and Ben will lift another trophy as a Manchester United player. And that's his now 3rd here at the club. I don't know how many it is overall, but certainly he had an impact today, scoring one and making the other. Reading can be proud of what they achieved, getting them away to the final, but on the day, of course, they were the underdogs, and it showed as well. United coming away with a victory. We'll watch them lift the trophy in just a moment's time, but commiserations to Reading, of course. Nevertheless, it's another trophy, and it's 1 out of the 4 that we need to watch Ben win this season. So there we go, closing in on it. Here we are then, guys. Ready to watch this trophy lift. We've got Rojo. I think the man's going to be able to do this. Where is he? There he is. About to lift this trophy. You can see the boys in the background. Ben just behind him. You can't really see Ben because Rojo's blocking him. But anyways, it's Man United with a trophy. And it's another one to add to the collection. But of course, as I said just before, this is only 1 of 4. There's still 3 to go. And this is by no means season over yet. They still have to do jobs later on. But yeah, good win. Was a final of not many chances. 4 for United, 4 on target, 2 for Reading, 1 on target, 50% possession to both sides. So it's not like either side dominated. Pogba with a man of the match performance, even though Ben scored and made 1. Pogba did get the assist, I guess, for Ben's though, so there is that, you can kind of say. Passes wise, Ben was obviously the highest in the team, 16 out of 17 passes completed, which is a decent pass completion rate. Dribbles as well, I think he took the most. Yes, he did, 23, but only completing 16 of them. Not exactly great there. In terms of the tackles he won the most as well, more than the defenders. Only 1 more, though, than Varane and Odriozola. Probably butchered that. But yeah, good work from United. They got themselves another trophy. They did the job that was in the hand here. Let's see what comes up next for them now in this next game. Player of the competition has been announced, and of course, it's gone to Ben. Carabao Cup, top player of the Carabao Cup. I don't think there's like a... Wait. When did that happen? Kai Havertz, I didn't even know we'd signed him. I thought he was at the club. 23-year-old from Spurs. 66 million is what they spent. He's 86 rated, so why is he on the bench for starters? Man, United have spent so much money, right, on players that are only getting in the bench. To note as well, Man United also signed Sanabria during that window, and he's yet to play for Manchester United in a single game at the moment, which... When you're spending like £60-odd million on a player, it's ridiculous to like not have them in your team. Kai Havertz as well, 66 million quid, and he came off the bench. Might see him play here against Spurs, his former club. Well, that could be a possibility. This will be the last game of the episode. I'm also going to do this one live. Why not, guys? We're already here. We may as well. We're going to see Man United. There he is. Sanabria's going to start. Okay, I'll eat my words. Just as I was saying that, he's going to start the game for us here. Of course, everything remains the same as always, guys. But I want to say there's quite a few players that are off fitness. So this one might be a tough afternoon here at Wembley. Nevertheless, Spurs are the second side in the division, currently on 51 points, 12 behind Manchester United at the top. So they need to win this one if they want to close the gap. For Man United, if they win it here, I guess you could say they are like pretty much champions in a sense. But, of course, you can't write anybody out yet. Now, of course, this is Ben's former club, so we will see exactly what's happened since he's left. We already knew that Eriksen was there. Harry Kane's still there. Redmond and Sobey. And they've got a decent side still, Spurs here, and I can see why they are second place. Of course, Harry Kane was banging him in at the start of the season. Not done it for England yet, though, has he, in an international competition when Ben's been there as well? To be honest, it's expected. England always seem to never turn up when it comes to international competitions. At least it's happened the same way in this career with Ben. England not turning up again when it matters. But game's underway here at Wembley. The Spurs side's decent. The Man United team's decent. This should be a good afternoon. Will Ben celebrate against his former club? That's going to be the question mark. Of course, he's done it a couple of times, but then sometimes as well he doesn't celebrate. So it's hit and miss, depending on how the fans are giving him grief, I guess. Maybe he won't celebrate with it being Wembley. We'll have to wait and see. But Spurs starting this one off with a possession on this left-hand side isn't ideal. Why is Ben getting a 5.1 match rating when he's, I would say, in a decent position? Spurs on the front foot here. Now Redmond on the ball, finding Harry Kane. Kane, Eriksen! Should have been Spurs 1-0 up. My goodness, 25 minutes in. Spurs open up this Man United defence, and it really should have been them taking the lead in this one. Eriksen, the Danish playmaker, if you're a betting man, you put him to score there, seriously. He had a phenomenal season last year, and this season's not been too bad for him either. How on earth he's missed that, I do not know. Yards away from the goal, and he skied his effort. That's the first chance of this game, falling Spurs' way, and it really should have been the opening goal. Sanabria played in by Ben. This might be Man United's first chance. Why is he passing that? He's in one-on-one with a keeper and he's passing it when Martial's marked. Why? Good cross. Matic is there and a great save by Leno. Absolutely know where that came from, and yet they created a chance to Man United and very nearly had the chance to put it in the back of the net. Martins' corner whipped in towards Pogba. It's cleared away and that'll be Spurs dealing with that. Been a really tight contest so far in this one, and nothing really separating the teams before half-time. Spurs should have taken the lead with Eriksen. They didn't do that. Chance wasted. Sanabria then got through with the goalkeeper, and instead of trying to actually shoot, passed the ball to a Matt Anthony Martial. So, yeah, weird decision-making by him. But as the half-time looms, it looks like it's going to be all square heading into it. Unless something happens now. Here goes Ben. This is going to run out of play, so it has to be a first-time cross, which is just so poor. 7 minutes remain of normal time. Here we go. Man United looking on the front foot again. This might be a potential chance. Ben trying to work his magic and trying to create something. Has to go backwards with the ball. There's not really anything on forwards. Is he going to get on the end of that one? Yes, he is. Ben, it's a chance. The cutback went straight to Fabinho. There was a man open. I don't know if he saw it, but in the end, Ben's cutback was just too bad and it didn't reach its intended target. Here comes Spurs. Pogba winning that one. Martins towards Ben. Ben looking for it. It's over the top of the crossbar. And that will end what's been a very poor afternoon for Man United. Not a good performance. I guess you could say Leno's made 5 saves. But honestly, there haven't really been anything testing. But I mean, in terms of like what you'd expect, Spurs did have that chance early on to take the full 3 points from this one. On another day, they'd have scored it. And Man United had lost here by a 1-0. Not today, though, because it looks like it's going to be a 0-0 draw. There it is. The referee bringing it to a close. And the Spurs fans, for some reason, are happy at that one. But nevertheless, for Man United, I think they got away with one there because Eriksen did let them off by missing that chance early on. Again, very kind of hit and miss afternoon, I guess you could say. This is one of Leno's first saves. It's pretty much nothing. There you go. It's just a punch out from across. This is the Eriksen chance that we got let off with, though, because, as I said, there he is in the middle of the box, and he's got a score, in my opinion. Other than that, there was really not much else that happened. Like, yeah, Martial had a header, which just completely missed. And then Leno again with a save, which you can say this is Man United's only chance of the game. Matic header, good save. So, on another day, they would have lost that one. But they didn't today, and they get the point at least. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is how we will end the episode off today. As you can see, the Premier League, Man United are 12 games away from being crowned champions. A 12-point gap at the top as well. It's looking more likely by the second. In terms of course, the Carabao Cup, they won it in today's episode, the game just before that. The FA Cup, though, they are currently waiting on a few more games being played, and they'll be able to tell whether or not they're going to be through to the semis potentially or knocked out, because we'll know the quarter-final draw at that point. Chelsea still in the competition after beating West Brom. Arsenal still in it. Everton beating Man City as well to knock them out. So yeah, there's a few decent teams still left within the shout of the FA Cup. In terms of the Carabao Cup, of course, Man United winning it in the episode today. That is the confirmation of it against Roma. For the Champions League, though, it continues in the next episode. A 2-0 aggregate lead, for Man United, as they head back to Old Trafford for the second leg in the round of 16 against Villarreal. The other games there, you can see Barca winning 3-0 in their first leg, Schalke winning 2-0, Chelsea winning 2-0, a 1-0 win for Dortmund. What is that? Real Madrid 3-2 actually against Zenit. Very good game it looks like there against Ben's former club. And Spurs losing 1-0 to Napoli in their first leg as well. So they have a little bit of a job to do in the next game. But that is how we end today's episode off, guys. As always, massive thank you for your support. I really appreciate it. It's nice to see all the nice comments as well on the little community post I put out yesterday about me passing the exam. There is a double upload today for you guys to say thank you for your patience while I had that exam to pass. So yeah, hopefully you enjoy it as well. Ben, the top scorer in the Premier League currently with 15. Also the top assist maker as well. Very good return from him this season. I'll catch you all for the next episode of this series. That second leg against Villarreal and potentially closing in on the title in the Premier League within the next episode. Hopefully in the next couple of days at 4 p.m.-ish. Make sure you subscribe if you're not already. Hit the notification bell so you never miss an upload. And I'll catch you all next time, guys. Adios.